Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the show. As always, I'm your host, Marcel, known as the Wealthy Mentor. And this is Wealthy Sibling. And on Wealthy Sibling, we talk about the real journey, the good, the bad, the entrepreneur, the mindset of money, and the mission behind why we are trying to become the wealthy relatives, wealthy siblings, and change the direction of our family story. Because all our family has a money story, but we want to change what that's like. So today, my guest is my brother Kevin Mosley. Went from the West Side. You from the West Side, right?
Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure that's good. From the West Side of Chicago, and then you went on to serve our military, serve military branch, and then get
Yeah.
into entrepreneurship. But even with that, I want you to really tell your story because I think it's really, really important. Because number one, you're a black man from the inner city.
Facts.
You go to military, you serve, and you also get into tech. So these three backgrounds
Yeah.
in itself is a layer and has a lot of jewels to anybody who wants to become their next relative or family's wealthy sibling and share their wealthy story. So I want to start with you, Brody. Um, what was it like? Because again, for those who don't know, as far as everybody else doesn't follow me, I am from Chicago as well, but I'm not a West Sider. I'm a South
Right.
Sider. So I
Right.
got to talk to you about like what's it like, or what was it like growing up on the West Side for you?
Man, coming up, first I want to say appreciate you, family. We already been locked in, but for having me on your platform, definitely much respect and love. But from the West Side, man, it's that stunt Taylor era. Fifi's on the block, you hear me? So we was out
He's on the block.
living, living good. Elementary, I remember. The blocks were just packed. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers can
Mhm.
kick it all night. It wasn't no issues, wasn't no shooting, none of that. So that's how I came up. But then, for those of you that don't know, my junior year of high school, I ended up moving to Columbus, Ohio. And that's what really shook me up because it was a different perspective, right? And that's something
That's
that
still the Midwest, I believe.
yep, Midwest. It's only about 6 hours from the shot. So, I was still back and forth because I had, most of my family in the city. But it was crazy, bro, because like going from being in the city, that's the Chief Keef era. So we go out to
Yeah.
Columbus and look, I'm hard body, you hear me? So I'm out here, I'm benching 400 pounds, squatting 500. Ain't nobody finna play with me. I'm breaking jaws, yeah. So I went out there on some other playing football was decent, all state, all conference type. But
In
bro, like,
college?
no, I didn't go to college because I graduated high school in Columbus with a 1.3, bro. So when I went to the University of Toledo, I tried to
Like
walk
GPA?
on. Yeah, 1.3. Yeah, that's what I graduated high school with.
Wow. And he
Facts.
became successful, y'all. I just want you to like. That's
Yeah.
why.
No, listen to me. This is real life. I'm telling you. And it's so crazy because I walked on, bro. Like I really was trying to do that NFL shit. Uh, I mean, we had to cut that out. Well, we just chopping it up. But anyway, I was trying to go to the NFL, bro. So I went to University of Toledo, walked on, bro. And
Mm.
it's the year. I don't know. I know you're familiar with football, but like Dre Archer, all of them was over there. So they was busting at Toledo. So I walked on, bro. But that's when I found out I was academically ineligible. You needed a 2.0 coming out of high school to be able to play at that time.
What? That's
Hurt,
crazy. You
hurt,
just shot. Okay.
hurt.
Yeah.
So that killed my dreams, bro. So I dropped out of college and shit, went back to the city. And that's why I started working security at the Board of Trade downtown. So that's why I really started that law
Mhm.
enforcement journey. Met my ex-wife, bro. And life took off from there, bro. But the West Side,
Okay. Okay.
all love for sure.
Okay. So, are there any aspects? Because you talked about a few things in this. Um, are there any aspects uh from your family background, or there any aspects like how you grew up with your family, or there any aspects on what you took from sports that you took into your career, right?
Right. Oh
You
no,
took
most
into tech,
definitely.
but you took in this.
Yeah, I would say the main one, the aspects that I took from, just coming up uh into tech and just my whole journey, law enforcement, all that was the discipline, bro. And the importance of resiliency, right? So I guess that's kind of like two parted, but it take discipline to be resilient, bro, because that you gonna fall, motherfucker gonna scrape them knees up, them elbows gonna hurt, might have a couple bumps on your head, yeah, me. You might get burnt if you really out here, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
just all those things, and being able to still have that story, go through those experiences, and still be able to speak to it, still be able to help people. I think that's really the main thing, bro. Being resilient and just being disciplined to know that whatever your situation is now, it can always get better, but it's gonna take you putting in them actions every single day.
No, for sure. I agree. Um, as for me as an athlete, it really was hey man, you either weirdly enough, you just get down and lay down. Like there's a point where you have to make a decision, especially because I was a wrestler. So that literally was you get down and lay down. The most direct content next to
Fact.
combat sports was wrestling. So it was either you get down, you win on the mat, or you lay down and you take
Yeah.
your L literally. Um, so did you have did you have business awareness? Did you have financial literacy awareness prior to prior to you graduating high school, prior to you going into law enforcement? Did anybody ever talk to you about money? Like when was your first like, oh, this is my money story. This is where it begins.
Yeah, no. So to answer your question, no. Coming up as a shorty, I ain't never had none of that. I seen my mom struggle through food stamps. We'll go to the what they used to have, the
Wick.
Piggly Wiggly. The
Yeah.
one we hit Dominic's. Look, you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, hit the store, going there buy with the coupons that we didn't cut out. They might miss 2 cents on that one. She going straight to a customer service, getting everything for free. You know what I'm saying? 3 kids struggling though. You know what I'm saying? Single moms, bro. So like that's what we knew to try to, get what the government's giving us, and then how can we, try to finesse a little
They
piece,
go
right?
if they gonna give it, you gonna get it all.
Right. And that's what I was used to. So my kind of like eye opener and kind of like my wealth journey was when after I joined the military, and keep it a buck, that's when I found Grant Cardone. And it's crazy because I ended up working for him later on in life. But yeah,
Ooh,
it's
hey
kind
man,
of,
people
that's when I learned about the
don't
stocks
believe that, though.
for sure. Yeah, that was my first
Oh, yeah.
first kind of introduction, but it was, it's been a self-taught journey since then, and I'm still on that journey, right? To where I want to be, but man, it's night and day. Because as a shorty, you don't never see that. I ain't know nothing about credit, none of that. So you talking about going to college, couldn't afford it, took out a bunch of student loans. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff, just to go there to drop out because dang, you know what I'm saying? I was ineligible, couldn't walk on. You hear me? So all of those things you don't realize until you get older.
Wait, so
You look.
you process hold on.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you process your FAFSA, right? You took out all the student loans
yeah.
to try to do the walk on, and then you find out after you process all that money that you
Fact.
couldn't. Oh wow.
Yeah. And then just
Okay.
dropped out. So I'm like, it is what it is. And then, working
Okay.
and coming up because I ain't even keep it a bug with you. I knew I did. I remember doing the promissory notes and all that, but you forget
Yeah,
about
me
that
too.
stuff in life. So come to find out, you look up, you owing 10, 12,000, and you're like, damn, how the, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
it's crazy because life's so full circle, bro. I ended up joining the military and I ended up getting my associates in accounting and my bachelor's in business all for free in the military. I'm like, they couldn't, I ain't even have to go to school and get no student loan. You know what I'm saying? It was thinking backwards, but you live and you learn and you reflect. But now I can pass that to my son and my daughter, so they ain't got to worry about that for sure.
Okay. So let's talk about it because you actually are the first serviceman or former serviceman, whether we talk about law enforcement or military, but we're gonna stick with military right now.
Yep.
For on the website on the financial literacy side, what would you say? And you did mention one. Were there any other benefits, whether it was life wise or financial wise, of you joining the military? And then why did you go that route? Because a lot of people could have just said, I ain't doing none of that.
Yeah, nah, that's facts. That's facts. That's kind of two part. So I guess the benefit, I'll go first and then I'll just go to why. So I would say the benefit of the military really for me, outside of like the discipline, is the network. And then, kind of the, level of respect, right? Because most people don't really understand the intricacies of the military, but they got a certain level of respect for it. Like, I, motherfucker went overseas, you did a little something. Especially me being on the cop side, because I was a cop in the military, secret clearance. So you talking about any and everything you could think of, bro. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you started seeing.
Room, in the movies, I'm telling you, in the movies, in the rooms where they got all them screens and they can see motherfuckers in X-ray and they got the little radars and all that. Been in there and seen that real life. So you know, and then I say, what do you say? What did I like take from that? What was the second piece of the question?
Why did you join the military? Because most people outside of not just they don't know all the benefits or possible benefits, but also just why did you decide?
Yeah, at first I didn't really do it for the benefits. I did it because I was kind of in the jam, right? I had just recently got married. I was married for about a year at the time. She had a daughter that was like 6. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to play stepdaddy, trying to play good husband. We was living in the city, in Inglewood. We was living
Wow.
right off 64th and Stony, right behind the what's that? The
Moved
wine.
out south? That's crazy.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
over there because my ex-wife from out south. She actually from right the cottage in 63rd.
Okay.
So it's like, man, I'm like, I gotta do something, bro. Because in the city, like I said, I was working at the border trade, doing security. She was driving for CTA, which was decent at the time. But I'm like, all
Oh
right, let's
yeah, that
move.
was a good job back then for real.
Yeah. So let's move. She got a little job at Waste Management in Nashville, Tennessee. So we moved to Nashville, bro. And then I started working for the prison up there in Nashville. So, bro, you talking about working at the prison, just seeing that day-to-day life. You talking about I couldn't keep shackling grown men every day. And then once, you know what I'm saying, I pulled my first piece of contraband out of grown man ass crack.
Yeah.
Look, they got shitty fingers, it's over with. I'm like, yeah, I gotta move around, bro. So I'm like, I ain't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I'm like, shit, I got skills in law enforcement. So let's go to the
You
military.
give me flashbacks, man.
Yeah, that was my
You give me
no.
flashbacks. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, for y'all that don't know, because I shared this to big pieces. So this for the people listening, I've done a few jobs. I've done law enforcement. If you were to say the extent, it would be any form of security to state to even federal, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was a CEO. So like that, I literally when I say even for those who working 9 to 5, this as far as the mentality of you get to a pushing point of like, yo, I know I want more for my life. I definitely want more money, and I ain't trying to or do I want to continue to do this, especially when it come to ain't making me happy, and I ain't trying to be strip searching 100. I
fact,
ain't got time for these people.
I'm telling you.
Uh, so now, so after you, let's move forward a little bit. After leave the Navy, leave the military, right? And you talk about a lot. What is it called? Military, yeah, military then code.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you talk to yourself like this code, and I kind of want you to break that down if there's a deeper meaning to it. How does that tie into your entrepreneurship? And then also I want to talk about what you call the loop framework.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so the military then code, how that kind of ties into my entrepreneurship, it really just started as like my journey, right? Going from the military. And then once I got out in 2020, I ain't had no direction, bro. I ain't know what I was gonna do. Literally, nigga went to Walmart, couldn't even buy no tissue to wipe my ass crack. So you
Yes.
talking about had to figure something out. And
Yeah.
I had a little bit of interest in tech, but I didn't want to go the cybersecurity route where I got to get search and do all that. I'm like, okay, if I learn how to code, I can build any piece of software and do whatever I want to do. Right. So I'm like, I bet what type of software I want to build. And that's why I started getting into e-commerce, and that kind of went down a rabbit hole. And that's really, how it kind of started my entrepreneur journey, right? At first, I'm like, I'm getting in the tech industry and I'm finna start making some of these hundreds of thousands that these folks talking about in these videos on YouTube and all that. So once I got in and was going through the boot camp, and for those of you that might not be familiar with a coding boot camp, essentially it's you learning coding languages and how to code within 90 days, but you go in there every day, 9 to 5. Right. Showing up virtually or in person. I was
Is it
able to do
paid?
it. They don't pay you. I end up getting paid. I got lucky, bro, because like I said, I had just got out, so I was able to use my GI Bill. And so I was getting paid monthly as a housing allowance to
Wow. Okay.
it was only a few months, but you needed that bread. But long story short, bro, going through the coding boot camp, they was throwing so much at me. I really wasn't like picking up the concepts because I was staying up 10, 12 in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, 12 in the morning, after class, trying to figure this shit out. So end up getting my first job. And what's crazy, and what I tell a lot of people now with tech and just working in general life, right? Your experiences and who you are as a person is going to benefit you, right? Especially if you lean into that. Because my first job in tech was working for a prison education startup where we was building out a educational platform for inmates, primarily in the San Francisco County Jail. Had about, I want to say at that time, about 5,000 inmates. And we had like a pilot program that was out for about 300 of the inmates. But anyway, long story short, the software filtered into any type of free educational content. So you're talking about Coursera, Khan Academy, all of that free Wikipedia, all of the free stuff. We filtered it in, so they wouldn't be able to speak externally, but they'll be able to get the information for free. So you're talking about going full circle, bro, from strip searching motherfuckers to now on those calls and asking the inmates themselves, like, what kind of technology, what are some systems you guys want to learn? And they, hey man, we want to learn marketing. I want to learn about trucking and real estate and woo woo. And now they got access to a platform that I'm building. You know what I'm saying? And it just took it from there. And that's what really sparked my entrepreneur journey. Cause I'm like, okay, if I'm working for a company that's building this, I can build this myself. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of sparked it. And like I said, I went into that.
Especially to add to your knowledge, but especially when it comes to so we always talk about money, but I also want you to know, for those that listen, we got faith in Almighty, right? Regardless of whatever your religion is, like the
100%.
creator, and it's a crazy 360 journey when it comes to, man, I don't want to do this. Again, that goes back to what is pulling on my morals and my soul. Like I'm shackling not only men, but majority, this is still true to this day, majority of the men who are in prison, who hold the majority percentage wise, is still black men to this day. So to be able to find a way out of that, find a way out of your circumstances, use your brain, use the benefits of going to the military, using the service of the military to get these credentials, education, and knowledge. And now I can actually build something that can serve the majority of the men who look like me in this system. Is that's dope, bro.
Thanks. No, I appreciate it, family. I appreciate it. And it's crazy even how we came together. I'm so thankful to you, bro, because like on the speaking tip and just on the mentoring tip, right? Because being exposed to that and what they got going over there at Champs, and just you as a person, as a human, bro, it's like it's a whole different perspective. I never got that type of love. I never got that type of pure intention anywhere in my life, right? And being around that, like you said, it's a snowball because some of that got off on me, and I'm trying to a little something, you know what I'm saying, elsewhere where I can, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, man, I love it, and I appreciate that. I think that men in general need to do that, because if we deem ourselves to be the leaders of not just our own individual household, our community, we have to come to a point to where, yes, we are strong men individually. We have tools, assets, even physical strength to lead our own individual home, but it's going to take us as the collective men to share the information with each other, to be there for each other, if we're going to hold up this entire village that we talk about when it talks about us being wealthy, as a village. So with that, talk about this thing you call the loop framework, which means living obviously on purpose.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's crazy because that kind of came up like on accident, keep it a bean. Because it was just something that I was doing, right? And essentially what it consists of is like a three-step process, right? It's mindset shift, it's skill set building, and then it's skill set development and mastery, right? Now that can apply to all aspects of your life, right? Not just jobs, anything, right? Because we got to have life skills, you got to have communication skills, you got to have financial literacy skills, all that. And it just kind of went from there, bro, because I was using it without even knowing. And I'm like, let's put this into a framework, right? And it's just something that you get in the loop, right? So that loop of living obviously on purpose. That's why I share my story on the internet. That's why I have a YouTube channel, Instagram, TikTok, all those different avenues for people to be able to see and interact with, me from a brand's perspective, from a content perspective. So, man, yeah, the loop is something we all get stuck in, right? But if you get stuck in it from the mindset of, living obviously and on purpose, then, you got no other choice than to be successful in whatever lane you in.
No, man. I agree. So, this is one of the closing questions that I ask to all of my guests, because our goal here with the sibling is we're here to change a lot of the money stories that our families have perpetuated and continued, and they haven't been successful. Either there's a group of our family who becomes a wealthy sibling or relative, and they go off and they don't say no secrets, and then there's the other half who just they continuously, unfortunately, end up being poor. And you'd be like, man, I just really wish I didn't have to live in this predicament, or that would change. So with you, what if someone asks you today, or if you left it to the world, what would you want your money story to say and be?
Damn, that's a good question. What would I like if somebody asked me what would I like my money story to be? Um,
Yeah.
shit,
And your family's money story. Yours and your family's money story.
I want it to be something that number one can live for generations, right? Like, and what that means to put it in big context is like the Walmart, the I think it's the Walton family. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Their last name is known without people being known. You see Walmart everywhere you go in the little small towns, wherever. There's gonna be a Walmart somewhere close by within an hour's drive. So same thing on this side. And I want to do that and have my wealth story be from a tech perspective, but also, from a real life perspective, because I think at least in our community, people separate tech from, their situation, being in the hood, and, they feel like they don't have access to the tech industry. They can't learn the skills. They, can't apply the knowledge. And that's, far from the truth, because if anything, the inner cities interact with technology the most, right? Just in everything, shit, everyday life, especially the music. That's a huge piece in social media. That's the biggest component of technology. So teaching these kids that if they can build this technology, if they can build PS5 games, if they can do those things with the skill set at that young age, that's going to get them paid, that's huge. And I think that could live for generations on. And it's starting with me. But I don't want to say I'm passing the seed to my son, because he's going to have his own journey, but I'm giving him the tools to be able to, build off of that, right? Because he loves Roblox. So now we start bits and pieces of building his Roblox application. So now when he gets 12, he's 7 right now. When he gets 12 years old, he got him a Roblox app where people paying him Robux. You hear me? And he got a bag before he even, really understand what it means to be, shit, have legacy. So that's what it would mean to me, bro. For sure, for sure. It's just generations.
Nah, man, I love that, man. Make sure y'all tap in with my brother Kevin Mosley. I love everything that he's about as far as all of his program, man. Make sure I go to his site, discover what the loop is, how that can work for your framework, for your business. Y'all know for me, I'm all about getting to the bag, right? That's why I love talking about the journey of somebody's wealthy journey. What do you want your bag to be like? And for me, the bag is you build wealth, you take action, and you set goals, right? It's not the normal bag, it's the bag that's gonna actually lead you to success. I invite all y'all, if you're trying to figure out one way to get to success, is to grab my ebook, which is how to build $1 million network. Which is why I bring, so the people that I bring is really a part of my network. I know these people to an extent. We have relationships, and the gifts that I try to give to y'all, even through normal conversations where I'm with my bros, I'm with my sisters, and we just chopping it up, I'm still giving you gems. You done talked about the service in the military. We done talked about how to get in the code. We done talked about school, and like we've unpacked so much, even in having regular conversations. But we got to have more of these regular conversations, man. So I want all y'all to continue to support us, man. Like, share, subscribe, and also, Kev, how can they get in contact with you? How can they follow up with you, social media, stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure. So you guys can follow me on social media at Military Then Code. So TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. For those of you that are looking to get into code, right? This is not just from people in the military. This is for people who are coming from a career that want to transition into tech and don't have a direction, right? What we're going to do for you here at militarythencode.com is, provide you with a roadmap, right? Because a lot of people try to, jump into it without understanding what the ins and outs. And then during that roadmap, we put you on the fast track to either get hired and get your first job in tech so you can start making those six figures, or start getting freelance clients, right? Where you can build your business and then also add to that business by building templates and different applications that now you can put on the internet and shit sell forever and make some passive income. So yep, definitely. If you guys want to reach out, the best thing would do to be reach out to me on Instagram at military then code, or my email at contact at military then code. But I definitely appreciate Marcel, man, having me on the platform. So it's always a blessing, bro. Love for sure.
For sure, man. Love, man. Appreciate y'all.